Stretch wire mesh fence. Using wire mesh fence is one of the most economical ways of marking your land's boundaries, fending strangers and animals away from it, and keeping your animals where they belong. However, the most difficult part in using wire mesh fence is the process of stretching it. If you are encountering difficulty in trying to stretch your wire mesh fence, here are some helpful tips. Put up your fence posts. These posts will serve as the skeleton of your wire mesh fence. Use a level to ensure that the posts stand straight. The posts should not be more than 8 feet apart to fully support the wire mesh. To make sure that the posts are sturdy enough to withstand the pressure of straightened wire mesh, dig in 1 foot or 2 deep post holes, pour concrete in the holes, and then put in the posts in their respective positions. Prepare your stretchers. There are several things that you can use as your wire mesh stretcher. You can purchase ready-made wire mesh stretcher from your local hardware, or you can use a 2x4 wood planks. Whatever material you're going to use as your stretcher, you have to make sure that they are cut according to the height of your fence. Install the wire mesh to your stretchers. Depending on the material you choose to use for your stretcher, bolt the wire mesh in place. The bolts should be 8 inches apart from each other. Make sure that the wire mesh is tightly bolted down to your stretcher. Attach the stretchers to the fence posts. To do this, just use normal carpentry screws. Start with the top part of the post first, then on the bottom part, and then on the center part. Make certain the stretchers are attached to the posts in a straight manner, that is, the wire mesh fence runs perpendicular to the ground when pulled out. Use hand-cranked chain pulley to attach the stretcher to the adjacent post. Fasten the hooks of the chain pulley to the stretcher in a way that the pressure will be equally divided and centered properly on the stretcher when pulled. To do this, locate the center of the stretcher and affix the hooks 1 foot above it and 1 foot below it. Crank the stretcher slowly. This is the part where you will stretch the wire mesh fence. Turn the crank slowly to pull the stretcher towards the adjacent fence post. Do this gradually and slowly so as not to make the wires snap, as they become more and more tightly stretched. Bolt the stretcher to the fence post when the wire mesh fence is already taut. Lock the crank in place, and start bolting the stretcher down the fence post. After you've finished bolting the stretcher in place, unlock the crank. Repeat the entire process until you have completely fenced your entire property. There you have it. You've just finished fencing your land.